Hi, we're proceeding with Metaphysics of Being, Something from Nothing. This is video 4. Again, I'll read from the book and then we'll get back to the board. Perpendicular lines never truly sect at a fundamental level. So if we have two perpendicular lines, perpendicular lines intersect at a point. Therefore, at the most fundamental level, you cannot truly say that they ever intersect at all. A point, by definition, is that which has no parts. The two lines, in effect, go right through one another without ever touching. So if we have this two-dimensional plane and we have the two lines, we can see that they're intersecting at a point. And if we go back again to Euclid definition of a point, those two lines are really not intersecting. So that's kind of interesting. And I'll keep going here. It's only when the lines are considered with extension that you could state that they are intersecting. It is not at one exact location, but only within a range of approximation. It is the chunk that is located one half of the way between each of them. Ironically, it is a chunk that contains an infinite amount of parts. So on the one hand, it appears that the intersection occurs at a point of nothingness, and on another level, the intersection occurs at a point of infinite magnitude. So if we actually do say that these are intersecting and say there is a mass intersection right there, not a point, but an extension. Any extension, again, as we said before, has an infinite amount of points in it. So on the one hand, intersecting at a point, there was no intersection, or if we say they're intersecting at anything at all that has extension, it has an infinite amount of points in that intersection. There is one point of intersection which contains an infinite amount of points of contact, yet there is no real contact at all. This again is at the very least paradoxical, but even more probable, a miraculous achievement by God when we consider this as it pertains to absolute reality. So again, something that doesn't seem possible is happening. There's no intersection. We can see that there is an intersection, however, and the extension that has that intersection has an infinite amount of intersecting points on it. So it's all three of those situations at the same time. Destiny. The totality of existence from the beginning of time to the end of eternity must in some sense already be, and always have been. In an absolute sense, being could not be more or less than it already is. It could not have been something in the past and then be something in the future, for then it would be less than it was prior. We have already established that infinity cannot be added to or subtracted from. This is the absolute essence of being. Picture the beauty of Michelangelo's statue of David and the awesome talent that it took to create it out of a block of marble. The more amazing fact than its inspiring brilliance is the fact that it had always existed within the block of marble prior to it ever being created. It was the artist's ability to see that brilliance within its inner core that exposed it for all to see. The artist did not actually create anything new in an absolute sense. So if you had the block of marble Michelangelo saw and envisioned that he was going to make a statue of David out of it, and then in the end ends up with a statue of David out of it. So that's kind of an interesting thing. He did create it, but it was in a sense already there. The miracle of creation. Consider the fact that the odds of coming to be are 1 over infinity of a possibility. Yet that overwhelming impossibility of it ever happening has come to fruition. It is due to the fact that the universe is infinite and that all things are possible in an infinite universe. Therefore, you can never say never when it comes to the power of God. Within the eternity of time, all possibilities will come to be. First cause. Nothing is the first cause since nothing precedes it. If you state that a first cause is anything other than nothing, it must be incorrect since something will always precede another something into an infinite regress. You will never find a first cause by searching among the available somethings. Therefore, nothing is the first cause and the source of all creation. Something comes from nothing. Even if you say that something has an eternal existence, it still is preceded by nothing. Therefore, again, whether you believe in a finite beginning to the universe or an infinite beginning, the answer is the same. Nothing is at the very beginning. So if we have time starting here and then we're proceeding forward, whether this is Big Bang or when God created the universe, somehow out of nothing, that's what started time and created that. And I don't mean to have this be an atheistic or when you talk of the qualities of God, I don't mean that in a bad way. That nothing. If when we talked about infinity merging with nothing, it is so far beyond the conception of us. It's infinity out here. It's the nothingness that created that. If there is a creation, so somehow this starts at some point and goes forward, or does it just always have been the nature of God and time and existence and being? It's infinite in both directions. If nothing is at the beginning of creation, how does it being get to be something? What is the critical point of creation? Let alone asking the question of why for now. Is there anything between nothing and something? One of the big questions of philosophy and metaphysics is why is there anything at all? Is just a whole nother question. No, otherwise they would be one. But mustn't there be just one total overreaching reality? Yes. Isn't the totality of everything somehow something and nothing both at the same time? Yes. If that is the case, maybe we are left more of a yin-yang scenario where something and nothing can coexist together. So on the one hand you have something, and on the other hand you had nothing. Why is there something? Why is there not just nothing? And in some way, the more you dig into this, it is almost as if there is this coexistence. Especially us as limited beings have to view this in a relative sense. So we have, beginning and end, good and evil, and something and nothing, and all of these paradoxes within this existence. Also, going back to the existence of God and the creation of the universe, if this is good and evil, why would God have created the world in this fashion where there is evil in it and suffering and bad things? And again, our limited minds cannot comprehend why that is. Creativity and becoming. Our perception of the universe is a perpetual creative becoming. It leads to our understanding that we have a free will to create our own world and take our chosen paths. The universe creates something new each and every moment in time, since it could never be stagnant and defined. That would be a limit. It is, as Henry Bergson stated, a creative intuition that leads us into the next moment in time. It is a perpetually fleeting moment which creates the next increment of space-time reality. It is so elusive, however, that it cannot be conceived in an absolute sense. It is infinitely small, that it is not perceptible, yet infinitely large, that it contains everything. It is new without adding anything to the totality of existence. It is because it is. There's no description or reason for it. Its brilliance transforms itself. And with that, I'll stop this video. Thank you.